Looking down at her, she looked totally blue.
Mom, there's something else wrong with my baby.
It looked as if she was drowning.
You know, I asked the doctor, so what are you gonna do? He's like, there's nothing we can do.
She can't work anymore. She feels like she's neglecting us.
I didn't know where my life was leading. I knew I didn't want to live like this.
Next, two medical mysteries that defied the experts. Since the day she was born, Lariah Palma has been fighting to catch her breath. But when no doctor can pinpoint what's causing the terrifying condition, her parents are forced to take matters into their own hands.
I just felt like I wanted to fall on the floor and die myself, you know. This could be the end, and...
Then, Lorie Scott's seemingly ordinary life is turned completely upside down when a mysterious headache proves to be far more complex than anyone could ever have imagined.
I know full well something's wrong with my head. They're just not finding it.
When illness strikes, we look to doctors to give us answers. But what if they can't? For these unlucky patients, diagnosis is a mystery. In the winter of 2001, in Pueblo, Colorado, Lavelle Fernandez was busy getting used to the idea of being pregnant with her first child.
When I first found out I was pregnant, I was kind of scared, but finding out that I was going to have a little girl was probably the most exciting part.
We're buying the little things, toys, and, you know, her closet was full of just pink clothes, and the whole room was just pink. It was great.
We just hoped that we were going to bring this beautiful little girl home and enjoy her for the rest of our lives.
In early September of the next year, after 2 days of labor, little Lariah Palma is born.
Lariah was 7 pounds, 7 ounces, and I was the first one to hold her, and I just looked at her and I just fell in love with her as soon as I seen her.
She was the most beautiful thing in the world.
It's a glorious day for the new parents, but no one could have prepared them for what would happen next.
They had brought her in for me to nurse her, and looking down at her, she looked totally blue.
At that time, she yelled out at me, "Mom, something's wrong with the baby." And I turned around, and she was turning blue.
In a state of panic, Evelyn grabs the baby from Lavelle and runs down the hall to the nurse's station. But by the time she gets there, baby Lariah seems to be perfectly fine. The nurses check her vitals, and everything appears to be normal.
After that, my mom came in and kind of told me, you know, she's okay.
Everyone breathes a huge sigh of relief. But just to be safe, the pediatrician admits 1-day-old Lariah to the neonatal intensive care unit for observation. 3 days later, Lariah is given a clean bill of health and released from the hospital.
She was sent home with the hope that, you know, this wasn't going to happen again and that we were going to go home and be just a happy family.
We were just so happy to take her home, you know, to show her new room.
Lavelle and Roddy spend the evening settling in with their new baby. But the next morning, when Lavelle checks in on Lariah, she's completely shocked by what she sees.
I noticed she's starting to get blue again. She's kind of starting to look like she did in the hospital. She just seemed to be coughing more consistent to where, you know, she couldn't stop coughing.
To see your little girl just trying to breathe and having a hard time at it, and it was very scary. It looked as if she was drowning.
It's not right. She shouldn't be breathing this way.
After only hours at home, Lavelle and Roddy find themselves racing their daughter back to the hospital.
We get her back to the triage nurse, and her oxygen level is like hanging out 60–70%, which is really not good at all.
In fact, the nurses are stunned by the reading. Most people maintain an oxygen level in the mid-90s, but Lariah's level is so low that she could be in real danger if doctors don't act fast.
And they had told us that if we wouldn't have taken her in when we did, she wouldn't have made it through the night. So it was that bad.
The doctors explain that Lariah has been having what the experts call blue spells. Her body is turning blue because she isn't receiving enough oxygen. but they have no idea what could be triggering them and need to run tests immediately. The clock is ticking.
So at this point, they take her from my arms and rush her to the back of the ER, and I'm just devastated. I know that there's definitely something horrible going on.
We were just hoping that somebody can give us some answers.
Then, 3 hours after Lariah is admitted, an ER doctor finally approaches Roddy and Lavelle holding an X-ray.
On this X-ray, it kind of had like this haziness to it.
And they thought maybe she had pneumonia.
Pneumonia is an inflammation of one or both of the lungs, often caused by an infection. Classic symptoms include cough, chest pain, and difficulty breathing.
Pneumonia in an infant is not a very good diagnosis. It pretty much means your baby has a very good chance of dying.
Immediately, 8-pound Lariah is rushed to the pediatric intensive care unit so that doctors can monitor her while they administer heavy doses of antibiotics to treat the pneumonia. When Lavelle finally sees her again, she can barely recognize her daughter.
She's hooked up to all these wires and machines, and it's really a lot at this point, and it's something that just made me want to just drop to the floor.
But as everyone waits for the antibiotics to take effect, Lavelle is blindsided by a terrifying new symptom.
I noticed she started choking on her formula. She's gagging, she's trying to throw up. She's just having a really, really hard time holding her food down.
The doctor was really worried that maybe she was aspirating the formula into her lungs.
The medical team believes that every time Lariah swallows her formula, she's inhaling some of it into her lungs, causing her to cough uncontrollably. More X-rays seem to confirm their fear. A prominent haziness suggests that a foreign substance has been entering her fragile lungs.
This means that it could be very deadly. At this point, they suggest that she should have a surgery.
The team believes that a procedure called Nissen fundoplication surgery will help strengthen a one-way valve located between the end of the esophagus and the top of the stomach that helps keep food and liquids in the stomach. But Lariah's family is completely overwhelmed by the idea of surgery on their infant daughter.
I was just so scared. I definitely didn't want my baby to go under the knife.
We were just hoping that they can help her, and we were trying to be strong for her and hope that this was really going to be the thing that's going to heal her.
It takes an excruciating 3 hours to complete the surgery, which goes off without any complications. But when the new parents are allowed to finally check in on their daughter, they are taken aback by what they see.
We did notice that once she was coming off her sedation, she still was continuing to cough.
We kind of looked at each other and we were just puzzled to why is she still having these coughing spells if the surgery is supposed to be taking care of this.
Six-week-old Lariah Palma has been struggling to breathe ever since she was born. She's just come out of a surgery that should help fix the problem. But when her parents are finally allowed to visit their little girl after the procedure, they discover that she's still coughing.
I questioned why she's still coughing, is she still supposed to be doing this? And pretty much what I was told is she's just going through recovery right now. It'll get better.
The doctors assure Lavelle that the coughs are just a side effect of the surgery and will go away with time. 3 days later, the medical team is confident that Lariah is on the road to recovery and send her home with her family.
I thought, we were going to have another chance at this. I was going to get to be a mother, an actual mother, get to hold my baby, get to feed my baby, get to do all these things that I'm supposed to do. And, just kind of get on with our lives.
But within just a few days of returning home with their daughter, they begin to notice that Lariah really isn't getting any better.
She continues to have these coughing spells. She has this horrible deep cough. She's still gasping for air.
Well, the blue spells, they just kept on going. They didn't stop, and we were just like, wow, what are we going to do? Why is it happening to her?
And I seen this fear in Lavelle's eyes, like, Mom, there's something else wrong with my baby.
At this point, I'm just really frustrated. She should be doing at least a little bit better, and she's not.
3 weeks after bringing their newborn daughter home, Roddie and Lavelle can't bear to see Lariah suffer any longer. Desperate for some answers, they decide to take matters into their own hands and drive 200 miles to the ER at Denver Children's Hospital.
We all knew that she needed to go there and that it was this great hospital and that, this was our only hope.
Shortly after Lariah is admitted, Roddie and Lavelle are introduced to pulmonologist Robin Dieterding, who immediately begins reviewing their newborn daughter's medical history.
Anytime a child has a surgery which you're hopeful will fix a problem and it doesn't, despite the best efforts of the physician, it's frustrating for everyone. Looking at her chest x-rays, we discussed getting a high-resolution CAT scan to further look at her lungs.
Willing to try anything at this point, the new parents agree to the CAT scan. And when Dr. Dieterding gets hold of the results, she knows that she's onto something.
Lariah's CAT scan showed a diffuse whiteness, and when you compare it to a normal film or other CAT scan on a child her age, the differences were quite apparent. Lariah's lung fields looked all hazy. There wasn't many areas that were normal, and we were very concerned that this could be a significant disease for her that potentially was life-threatening, and began to wonder if there was an interstitial lung disease.
Interstitial lung disease is a general term that refers to approximately 200 disorders of the lung, characterized by inflammation and scarring.
Just to say it's interstitial lung disease is not good enough. We need to know what type.
Dr. Dieterding told us that she wanted to do a biopsy on Lariah's lung.
So doing a lung biopsy to look at this would give us a strong idea and a likely diagnosis for her condition.
In a lung biopsy, doctors surgically remove a piece of a patient's lung and send the sample to a lab for analysis. But for a patient as young and as sick as Lariah, a second surgery holds a very serious risk.
At this point, Lariah is close to 3 months old, and she's not a child that has normal breathing or normal oxygen levels. So the risks for her are significant. We felt we could do other genetic testing, but it was going to take many months. And as sick as Lariah was getting, we didn't know if we had that time.
I knew that she was more sick at this point and didn't know if her body could handle going through another surgery. And I knew how hard it was for her when she went through the first one. I felt very scared, just not knowing if, this was the right thing to do. And, if she was gonna pull through.
Three-month-old Lariah Palma has been struggling to breathe every day of her short life. But Dr. Robin Dieterding seems to have a strong hunch about what's going on and needs to perform a lung biopsy to confirm her suspicion. But the surgery presents many risks for little Lariah, who is in an extremely fragile state.
It was the last thing that I ever wanted her to have to go through again, But it was whatever we had to do and whatever we had to go through to get our daughter well, we did it.
The whole family was in this, and together as a team, they decided that despite all the anxiety they had, it was the right thing.
While the medical team carefully prepares Lariah for surgery, Roddie and Lavelle are struggling just to keep it together.
I really didn't know what to expect from the lung biopsy. Honestly, I couldn't even think. I was a mess.
2 hours later, everyone breathes a huge sigh of relief when the surgeon pronounces the operation a success.
We were pleased that the surgeon was able to get the lung tissue we needed and that she had tolerated the case.
While everyone is overjoyed that Lariah pulled through, they're anxious to know what the biopsy will reveal. But it will take 3 days for results to come in. In the meantime, Roddie and Lavelle are keeping a watchful eye on their little girl.
I was spending all my time with Lariah at this point. They did have a little cot that I could stay with her, and pretty much just live there.
When the biopsy findings finally come in, Dr. Dieterding knows right away that she's found the critical clue they've been looking for.
After looking at Lariah's lung biopsy, we had a high suspicion this was consistent with the surfactant protein dysfunction.
Patients who suffer from a surfactant dysfunction have trouble producing an essential lubricant in their lungs called surfactant. Surfactant helps maintain the elasticity of the pulmonary muscles. Without the vital lubricant, the lungs are like an engine without oil, incapable of running smoothly. The condition is caused by a mutation in the type II cells of the lungs, which are responsible for producing the surfactant.
Based on Lariah's lung biopsy, we were not able to tell what type of mutation she might have. There are 3 different types of surfactant dysfunction mutations, and in 2, the likelihood for death is very high.
It just felt like I wanted to fall on the floor and die myself. To learn that, this is a disease that she could die from it, This could be the end, and
While the family struggles to process the shocking news, Dr. Dieterding is focused on identifying which one of the 3 mutations Lariah has.
Based on the fact that the lung biopsy suggested it was one of these surfactant proteins, genetic testing would be required to determine the exact type of mutation she might have, and blood was sent to Johns Hopkins for further analysis.
Dr. Dieterding explains that it will take an excruciating 3 to 4 months for the results to come back. Then, just when the new parents think it can't get any worse, Dr. Dieterding drops yet another bombshell.
This disease is so rare, there's been no studies on it. There are no known medications that cure these surfactant dysfunctions.
We just didn't know how to act because we've been trying so hard just to get our baby girl home. And to hear about that, we're just so devastated. It was just horrible.
And as Roddy and Lavelle wonder if they will ever be able to bring their little girl home again, Lariah's condition actually begins to get worse.
Lariah was in the pediatric intensive care unit on the ventilator, and we were needing to breathe for her. She was not able to breathe on her own.
when you see a ventilator, it's the scariest thing in the world because, you think this is the end of somebody's life. She just looked absolutely awful.
There were many discussions between myself and the family about how concerned we were that Lariah might not survive. Lung transplant was offered, but Lariah was too sick to get to a center that could provide lung transplant. We decided that until we knew different or until Lariah told us different, the family wanted to pursue all options.
Dr. Dieterding is up against the wall. Even when the blood test results come in and they know exactly which mutation Lariah is suffering from, there is still no known cure. Her only option now is to try to simply begin treating her the best way she knows how.
In the literature and in other patients I had treated, we had used high-dose steroids and other medications to potentially impact what these type II cells were doing. So we began to treat with those, hoping that Lariah could slowly turn the corner and have time to improve.
We don't know what's going to happen. And the last thing we want to do is leave her sight.
It was terrifying to see Lavelle's eyes. She just wanted to be a mother and just hold her. Was this medicine going to help her or hurt her? We just didn't know.
When Roddy Palma and Lavelle Fernandez raced their newborn daughter to the emergency room with breathing difficulties, they never imagined that 2 months later, she would still be in the pediatric intensive care unit, fighting for her life.
Once we realized that we were going to be there for the long haul, we just put all of our stuff in storage. I quit my job. They gave us a room at the Ronald McDonald House, but I don't believe we stayed very much time there because we wanted to be with Lariah 24 hours a day.
Doctors now believe that she has some form of an extremely rare and incurable lung disease. And for the past 2 months, little Lariah Palma has been undergoing an experimental treatment that they hope will save her life.
During the time where we didn't know if she would survive, they were looking at every day as a gift to be with her. Unfortunately, she was sedated, and that's very difficult when you can't interact with your child.
It came to the point where You couldn't even touch her. It was incredibly hard.
While Lariah's family maintains their vigil, Dr. Dieterding is anxiously waiting for blood test results that will identify exactly which type of lung surfactant dysfunction mutation she's suffering from. And after 3 long months, the results finally come in.
Interacting with Dr. Larry Nogi, the world's expert in this area at Johns Hopkins, he informed us that Lorie had a very specific mutation, a surfactant protein C mutation.
In a surfactant C protein dysfunction mutation, protein C, an essential component in the lung lubricant surfactant, is produced abnormally. As a result, the surfactant gums up the air sacs in the lungs and interferes with the oxygenation of blood.
So it's very consistent with the spells Lariah was having and with the fact that Lariah could not get enough oxygen in her blood.
For the first time in months, Dr. Dieterding is hopeful that Lariah may survive. As it turns out, the specific mutation that she has is the least likely to lead to death.
This was a mutation that was better than some of the other mutations we could have found. I had hope that with this condition she could improve.
At this point, we're like, wow, this actually is some good news we're getting. We've gotten nothing but bad news.
It's bittersweet for Lavelle and Roddy. While they're relieved to finally know what's making their baby so sick, they realize that there is no approved treatment or cure for the disease. Dr. Dieterding believes that their only choice is to keep her on the aggressive steroid treatment.
I didn't anticipate a quick response. As severe as her lungs were injured, my hope was that it would give us some breathing room for Lariah to slowly improve. I was not expecting instant turnaround of her condition.
Over the course of the next few months, Roddy and Lavelle spend all of their waking hours by their daughter's side. Then, one afternoon when she least expects it, Lavelle is completely taken aback by something she has not seen since the day her baby was born.
I kind of moved the curtain over to look at her to see how she was doing. And that's the point where she just looked at me and, had this beautiful smile on her face.
Finally, little Lariah appears to be responding to the treatment.
She got to the point where she didn't need to be sedated. She could interact with her family. She had made such improvement that I began to believe that she could do this, she could make it.
We've seen signs of life that she's a little fighter. She's a fighter.
She was, sitting up, doing it on her own. And I think at this time it was starting to feel like I was the mother and, felt so good to hold her after all that time.
Lariah seems to have miraculously defied the odds. Many infants diagnosed with the disease do not survive. Still, while Roddy and Lavelle are grateful that Dr. Dieterding was able to save their daughter, they can't help but wonder why so many doctors weren't able to put the pieces of the puzzle together.
These surfactant abnormalities are so rare, we don't have a number for how many people might have this disease. Lariah had a few things that could be foolers. Her lungs were quiet when people listened to them with the stethoscope. And she had some other conditions like an area that looked like pneumonia and the lipid in her lung that might have misled people. So it took a while to come to what the answer was.
Over time, Lariah begins to make steady improvements. And after a staggering 538 days in the hospital, Dr. Dieterding finally believes that she's strong enough to go home. It's a day her family will never forget.
My little granddaughter was going home, and Lavelle and Roddy were going to be able to be parents again. I mean, their dream was coming true.
But while they eagerly prepare for her homecoming, they also brace themselves for the intensive home care she will need.
Even though she was on a ventilator, she was, she's going to need 24-hour care. She's going to need nursing. We were just so happy to have her home. After 18 long months in the hospital, everything that she's gone through, it was just so terrific just to have her home finally.
Today, more than 3 years after leaving the hospital, Lariah Palma is an opinionated 5-year-old with an incredible will to live.
I've taken care of Lariah now for over 4 years. She's 5 years old. She has progressively improved. We do not have to breathe for her anymore, and now she just requires a little bit of oxygen to support her lungs. When you look at her CAT scan, she still has lung disease, and that's why she still needs a little bit of oxygen. But she no longer has her blue spells. She doesn't cough anymore. She's able to talk and play. from near death to this, it's quite a miracle.
Oh, finally to have her home and to be a dad for her is just the best thing in the world, you know what I mean? To see her so happy and to live life like if nothing's ever been wrong, it's just the greatest thing in the world.
My plans for the future for her are to just get her off this oxygen and let her go to school, just let her grow up and enjoy life as much as possible because she almost didn't have that chance.
While it was crystal clear to Lariah Palma's parents that each breath she took could be her last, no one grasped the danger that Lorie Scott faced when a seemingly ordinary headache just wouldn't go away. In the winter of 2006, Lorie Scott's life revolved around two things: caring for her two teenage children and working full-time as a clerk for the state in Lansing, Michigan.
The beginning of 2006, things were going pretty good in my life. Things were going actually great. They're going wonderful. I have a beautiful family.
Me and my mom are very close. She's my best friend. She was a very happy person, you know, outgoing, willing to do anything for anybody.
Then, with the family's full support, Lorie makes a New Year's resolution that will change her life forever.
I had decided to quit drinking alcohol and decided that I needed to change my life, and I was feeling pretty good.
My mom really tried to take control by stopping drinking because that affected her job, that affected us.
That was a big decision for Lorie at that time. And after the drinking, she was pretty healthy.
After almost an entire year of sobriety, Lorie is feeling like she's back in control of her health. Until 1 week before the Christmas holiday, when Lorie begins to notice a mysterious pain.
I believe it was in the afternoon while I was filing, I started to get a really bad headache. I took some aspirin and then I went back and started filing again, and the aspirin wasn't doing anything, and it was hurting so bad that I ended up leaving work early and going home.
Overwhelmed by the persistent headache, it takes every ounce of energy she has left to drive herself home.
When I got home, I laid down thinking that maybe if I went to sleep, the headache would go away, but it didn't happen.
Over the next few days, Lorie tries every home remedy she knows, hoping that one of them will dull the excruciating pain.
My mom has never had anything this severe. My mom described her headache as a Liberty Bell. She would say her head just feels like it's cracking in half, and it was very unbearable pain.
I was treating the headaches with just over-the-counter medications. I tried sleeping, I tried covering my head up, but they didn't seem to be getting any better.
2 days before Christmas, the headaches have become almost debilitating, and Lorie is devastated that a headache could prevent her from participating in the holiday festivities. As the family sits down for their Christmas dinner, she can barely keep it together.
She was smiling and trying to put on a good front, but she just wasn't her usual self that day.
It was very clear that my mother was in a lot of pain during dinner because she wasn't eating.
And then I think she just disappeared.
My mother went upstairs in the bedroom and just slept and had everyone wondering about what's going on.
And I'm in so much pain that I can't even go downstairs and enjoy them.
Lorie spends the rest of Christmas week living in complete agony.
I was starting to get headaches almost every day. And by this time, the light had started bothering me and really intensified the headaches. I started to spend all my time down in the basement because the basement was really dark. The more I got the headaches, the more I laid down.
Despite her discomfort, Lorie avoids making a doctor's appointment, confident the headaches will pass on their own.
When I went to work, I had a headache, but I was determined that the headache would go away or lighten up enough for me to work. It felt like there was a jackhammer in there. Somehow I made it through the day. I went home and I went downstairs in the basement. And my husband came down and asked me, are you okay? At this point, I was in so much pain, I was just balled up. I was crying, it was just hurting so bad. And my husband asked me, you want me to take you to the emergency room, As bad as I did not want to go, I had to.
Lorie's husband rushes her to the ER, where a medical team begins running a battery of tests, hoping to pinpoint the exact cause of her mysterious headaches And when the results come back, they are nothing short of shocking.
When all the test results came back and they told me everything's fine, your blood work came back fine, we can't find anything wrong. I asked the doctor, so what are you gonna do? And he's like, well, there's nothing we can do. I just went out of there bawling. I was very frustrated, very frustrated. I felt like I'm nobody, I'm not worth helping. I know full well something's wrong with my head. They're just not finding it.
Lorie Scott has been suffering from debilitating headaches for more than 2 weeks. And when she finally lands in the emergency room, every test the medical team runs comes back normal. They have no clue as to what's causing the excruciating pain. The only thing the doctor can do is give her a prescription to dull the piercing headaches.
I had asked her for some stronger pain medication, but it did not relieve the pain.
I was very concerned about my mother taking too many painkillers because, none of them are working, and I didn't want her to get in a habit.
Especially for her being an alcoholic, I just didn't want to see her get hooked on another medication.
Lorie hopes that at some point the medication will begin to kick in.
The pain was affecting my mother's sleep. She would toss and turn all night, and she would be up in the middle hours of the night.
I was not able to sleep more than probably an hour, hour and a half at a time.
But despite the sleepless nights and the acute headaches, Lorie continues to drag herself into work.
My days were hell. It took everything out of me to get through the day. My work was really suffering as far as it would take me longer to get things done. I didn't want to lose my job at this point.
But day in, day out, Lorie insists on going to work. The family is relying on her to bring home a paycheck. And she's slowly finding ways to manage her episodes on the job.
I would go on my lunch hour and go to my car and lay down in the back of my car. Most of the time I was leaving early from work. I couldn't wait to get home.
But it isn't long before Lorie finally reaches her breaking point.
I was back there filing, and I just had this terrible headache coming on. So I had leaned over and rested my head on my cart for a little while, and it just, it wouldn't go away, It was just hurting so bad and started crying. That day, I ended up going home, and from then on, I could not work. I didn't know where my life was leading. I didn't know if I was ever going to get help.
Lorie is completely overwhelmed. She's now left her job and is no closer to understanding what's been causing the harrowing headaches. When a friend recommends that she visit an internist she trusts, Lorie makes an appointment for the following day.
She was puzzled by the headaches and the inconsistency and everything that I had told her what was going on. She was thinking maybe it was a migraine.
Migraine is a neurological disease characterized by extremely painful and often debilitating headaches.
In turn, she referred me to a neurologist.
Hopeful that the doctor is onto something, Lorie makes an appointment with neurologist and headache specialist Dr. Edmund Messina.
When I first met Lorie, she was very worried, as most people are when they start having headaches and they're not used to it.
Dr. Messina begins by asking Lorie to describe the headaches in exact detail and about when they first started to occur.
Indeed, she had symptoms that could fit migraine, but Lorie wasn't a chronic migraine person. It's more common to start seeing migraine at puberty or in early 20s, and the fact that it was starting out as daily and the fact that it was of relatively new onset, we started looking for other explanations.
Next, Dr. Messina orders an MRI so that he can get a clearer picture of what's going on inside of Lorie's head.
At the end of the first visit, our plan was to get a better picture of the brain, so we scheduled the next visit, which is just about 2 weeks later, to go over the testing that we ordered.
Lorie returns home, praying that the MRI will shed some light on what has been plaguing her for the last 2 months. But as she waits for the results, Lorie's life is reduced to a dark and unforgiving struggle with pain.
When I would come home, she would be in the basement, covered up with an ice pack on her head. She can't work anymore. She feels like she's neglecting us.
I'm pretty much always in the dark. I feel like my basement's now a dungeon.
But over the next few days, when Lorie least expects it, a terrifying new symptom begins to emerge.
After the visit, I started noticing white spots in my vision. just a big, bright, blinding light that would just last for a second where I couldn't see anything.
I'm like, geez, Mom, the headaches, no one knows what the headaches are from. Now you're seeing white flashes. Something's gotta be wrong, like something more than just headaches.
I'm thinking, oh my God, this is getting worse. I thought I was nearing my end. There's just so much you can take.
Lorie Scott has been experiencing crippling headaches for more than 2 months. In fact, they've become so bad that she's had to leave her job indefinitely.
The headaches they did what they wanted to do when they wanted to do it.
While every other doctor she's been to has been baffled by the attacks, neurologist Dr. Edmund Messina believes that he's onto something. He's ordered an MRI of her head to get a better look at her brain. But while they're waiting for the results, Lorie has started experiencing bright white flashes in her central vision. Terrified, Lorie prays that Dr. Messina will have some answers for her.
When Lorie came back, the main focus of the visit was to discuss her MRI, which showed white matter abnormalities in the brain.
Lorie's MRI reveals a number of small white dots, or white matter, on her brain. It's unclear what's causing the strange markings. But when Lorie describes her new symptom, Dr. Messina has an idea.
She was very worried. She reported a new symptom, which she called blurring of her vision. We call this an aura. People who have migraine with aura have a pretty good incidence of abnormalities between the left and the right atrium of the heart. Because of Lorie's visual changes and the absence of other explanations, the next logical place to suspect would be the heart.
While it seems like a strange leap to Lorie, Dr. Messina explains a recent study suggesting a connection between headaches and the heart.
I was just blown away, what does that have to do? But, I'm thinking to myself, he knows what he's doing. I'm gonna go with the flow. By this time I was willing to try anything.
And this led us to the next test, which was the transesophageal echocardiogram, or TEE.
During a TEE test, a probe with a mini ultrasound device attached is passed down into the esophagus, allowing doctors to get a clear image of the heart.
We sent her to Dr. Eugene Chu, who is a cardiologist here in town, who has been doing this type of testing for a number of years.
Dr. Messina's concern was primarily this suspected cardiac contribution, a cause of her symptoms, rather than just purely being a garden variety migraine headache, because Lorie's symptoms became rather suddenly progressive.
Dr. Chu quickly prepares Lorie for the TEE. Her throat is numbed, but she remains conscious during the procedure. She's been through every test in the book, but all she can do now is pray that this will be the one that finally sheds light on her unbearable headaches.
The findings at the time were essentially unremarkable, except that one finding. What the TEE revealed was a very prominent PFO.
A PFO, or patent foramen ovale, is a hole between the left and right atria of the heart. PFOs are present in all developing fetuses. They aid in the circulation of blood between the mother and the fetus, and the hole typically closes on its own soon after birth. But in Lorie's case, the hole never closed.
That finding was rather dramatic. When such finding was seen, there was a high suspicion that her headache may indeed be caused by such a large PFO.
And I'm asking him, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And he's like, you have a hole in your heart. And he's like, that's what could be causing my headaches.
While it's unclear exactly how a hole in the heart can trigger a headache, recent studies suggest a connection.
The association between PFO and this migraine headache is really a recent phenomenon. We don't really know the actual data even to this day. Lorie Scott's case is a rather impressive and dramatic case where the suspicion of the association between the two was quite high.
Dr. Chu speculates that Lorie only started to experience the headaches when the hole became too big. It most likely started off as a tiny opening, but as Lorie got older, it grew.
And her next question is, what can we do about that? I told her that we should consider closing it. If we did not close that opening, the patient would run the risk of continuing to suffer her debilitating headache constantly, as well as a potential stroke that could be catastrophic.
During the surgery, a catheter will be inserted into Lorie's heart and deploy a small device to seal off the PFO.
I was scared to death. Just the fact of having surgery on your heart was very, 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 very scary.
Adding to her anxiety is the fact that there is no guarantee that the surgery will alleviate Lorie's headaches, but it's the only option they have left.
The day of my surgery, I was shaking so bad I could hardly walk.
At 8 a.m., Lorie is wheeled into the operating room while her family anxiously waits.
I took a couple days off school. I wasn't talking to my friends, just concentrate on my mom, trying to let her know that I love her because I was very worried.
I pray to God that, she'd come out of it, because anything dealing with the heart is pretty serious.
3 hours later, the surgeon informs Lorie's worried family that the operation has gone off without a hitch. The implanted device has successfully closed Lorie's PFO. Now all they can do is wait and see if it stops the chronic headaches for good.
When I woke up from surgery, my first memory was,
Are your headaches going away?
So how's the headaches?
do I have a headache?
As the sedation slowly wears off, Lorie begins to realize that her life really has changed.
After a little while, it really dawned on me, my headaches were really gone. I felt wonderful. I was ready to go on with my life right then.
24 hours after the surgery, Lorie is released from the hospital. She begins experiencing something she hasn't felt in a very long time: optimism.
And the next couple of days, she still didn't have a headache. She started wearing makeup again, she started opening the blinds, she started cooking, everything, just came back to my mom.
Lorie's dramatic response to repairing the PFO, in retrospect, helps us to prove that her symptoms were due to a cardiac rather than a straight neurological disorder.
But Lorie is left to wonder what might have happened if she hadn't been diagnosed.
She could well have had a stroke at some point if she hadn't have done something about the hole in her heart. The worst case scenario with this type of stroke could be death.
Lorie feels extremely lucky to have been diagnosed at all, especially after so many doctors were unable to piece together the potentially deadly symptoms.
What took so long in this overall course was that there was nothing about Lorie's history at that point that would have led an ER doc to anything different than thinking it's a headache disorder that's gotten out of control. But just because a person has migraine does not mean they're necessarily going to control their headaches by having a cardiac procedure done. It's very, very hard, if at all possible, to justify repairing the PFO only because a person's having headaches.
Today, 6 months after the hole in her heart was repaired, Lorie is working again and spending all of her free time taking care of the family who saw her through the darkest moments of her life.
I probably feel today better than I ever have in my entire life. Now I'm able to be a better mom, a better wife, a better sister.
Lorie's back to Lorie. She's feeling really good now, no more headaches.
When we saw Lorie the last time, which was following her procedure, she was doing great. She was stable. Her symptoms of headache and of fatigue and all of her other visual changes had all subsided. Lorie seemed to have a closure, literally, to her disorder as well as to the hole in her heart.
My first visit back to Dr. Messina, I just felt like I had to hug him.
She gave me a hug, and we're not huggers in our office, but by golly, she gave me a big hug because she felt so great.
If I hadn't went to Dr. Messina and kept doing the tests and stuff like that, I wouldn't be here today.